All right, let's take a trip way back in time, thousands of years actually, to what was once the wealthiest city in the entire world, Babylon. I mean, this place was legendary, towering walls, incredible treasures. But you know, its real riches, the most valuable things it had, weren't the gold or jewels. Nope. It was a set of timeless principles about money. And these principles, believe it or not, answer a question that I'm willing to bet you've asked yourself more than once. And here it is. Why do so many of us work our entire lives, really work hard, and still have so little to show for it in the end? It's a question that just hangs in the air, doesn't it? We work, we get paid, we pay our bills, and somehow the bank account just never seems to grow. Well, guess what? The people in ancient Babylon, they had the exact same problem. And the solution they found? Well, it all starts with one single, totally fed-up craftsman.
So let's dive into this question of wealth. Our story doesn't kick off with some king or super rich merchant. Nope, it starts with a regular guy, a craftsman, a guy who was amazing with his hands, but whose pockets were just empty.
So this is Bansir, and let me tell you, in all of Babylon, if you wanted a chariot, he was the guy. A true master of his craft, and he worked nonstop. But here he is, just sitting there, totally discouraged, staring at a chariot he can't finish. Why? Because his meal bag is empty, and his purse is even emptier. He's got the talent, he's putting in the hours, but the money? It just wasn't there for him.
And he finally just blurts it out to his best friend, Kobe, who's a musician. He says, "Why can't we get our hands on some silver and gold? Enough to just live on." And think about it, both of these guys were respected, they were good at what they did, and yet they were always just scraping by, borrowing money to make ends meet. It finally hits them, they're living in the richest city on earth, they're surrounded by all this wealth, and they have absolutely no clue how to get any of it for themselves. And that right there, that's the big turning point. They have this huge realization. Working harder wasn't the answer. Come on, they've been working hard their whole lives. The real key, they figured, had to be knowledge. They needed to stop just wishing for money and start seeking out wisdom from the people who actually had it. And that quest, well, it led them to one specific person. And this brings us to Arkad's secret origin. This is where we meet the mentor of our story, Arkad. He's the guy who has all the answers that Bansir and Kabi are so desperate for. But the thing is, his own story didn't start with a pile of gold.
See, they went looking for Arkad. Now, everybody in Babylon knew Arkad was loaded, but that wasn't what made him a legend. What made him legendary was that he'd built it all from scratch. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He started his life as a humble scribe. A guy who just carved records onto clay tablets for a living. His success story, it made everyone else feel like, hey, maybe I could do that too.
And it all goes back to this one moment when he was young. Arkad makes this bargain with a rich moneylender, a guy named Algamish. See, Algamish gives him this massive, impossible job to do. And a young Arkad, who's just desperate for answers, he makes this incredibly bold counteroffer. He says, look, I'll work all night long to get this done for you, but I don't want money. I want you to teach me the secret to getting wealth.
And what do you know? Algamish agrees. So after Arkad pulls an all-nighter and finishes the job, the old man shares the secret. And it's this one single sentence. I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep. That was it. That was the big secret. It wasn't some treasure map or a magic trick. It was just a totally different way of thinking. Arkad realized he'd been paying everyone else with his money. The guy who made his shoes, the guy who made his clothes, but it never once occurred to him to pay himself.
All right, so now we get to the first lesson of gold. Because, just knowing a secret isn't the same as really understanding it. Arkad's journey was really just getting started, and his first try at putting this new idea into practice, well, it was about to teach him another very, very important lesson. So, Arkad gets to work. He's super excited to try out this new rule. For an entire year, he saves 1/10 of every single thing he earns. And man, he feels so proud just watching that little pile of money grow. Then, an opportunity pops up. He gives his entire savings to a guy named Asmor, who's a brickmaker. The plan? Asmor is traveling to a faraway land. He's going to buy some rare jewels, and when he gets back, they'll sell them and split a huge profit. Sounds good, right? Well, Arkad had just made a rookie mistake, a big one. When his mentor, Algamish, hears what he did, he's not happy. He basically tells him, look, you're a fool. Why on earth would you trust a brickmaker to know anything about jewels? It's common sense, right? If you want to know about jewels, you talk to a jeweler. Arkad's entire savings, poof, gone. Traded for what turned out to be a bunch of worthless pieces of glass. And that quote from Algamish is just
Timeless. Every fool must learn. Ouch. The price you pay for taking advice from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about is, well, it's your savings. Arcad learned a tough lesson that day. Saving your money is just step one. Protecting that money, that means you have to get advice from people who actually know what they're doing. So let's fast forward a few years. Now we get to the cures for a lean purse. Arcad is older, wiser, and very, very wealthy. The king of Babylon calls him in. The king's got a problem. All the money in the city is stuck in the hands of just a few people. So he asks Arcad to teach everyone how to get rich. Arcad agrees, and he boils down everything he's learned into these 7 simple cures.
And the first cure, the absolute foundation for everything else, is that 1/10 rule. It's the original secret he learned from Algamish all those years ago. It's simple. For every 10 coins that come into your purse, you only take out 9 to spend. That last coin, that one is yours to keep. Think of it like a seed. It's the seed that's going to grow your tree of wealth. It doesn't matter how little you earn, you have got to pay yourself first. Okay, which leads us right into the second cure, control your spending. Arcad totally got this problem that we now call lifestyle inflation. You know how it is, right? The more money you make, the more necessary expenses you seem to have. He says our wants will always grow to match our income, unless we actively push back. So, his solution? Make a budget. Figure out what you truly need versus what you just want. This is how you make sure you can actually live on the other 9/10 of your money while keeping that precious 1/10 safe.
So you put it all together, these first few cures create the whole foundation. Step 1, pay yourself first. Keep at least 1/10 of everything you make. Step 2, control your expenses. Budget so you can actually live on the rest. Then comes step 3, make your gold multiply. Don't just let your savings sit there. Make it work for you. And finally, step 4, the lesson Arcad learned the hard way, guard your treasure. Only invest where your money is safe and where you're getting good advice. You put those 4 things together and you've got a powerful blueprint.
So there you have it, your wealth-building blueprint. Think about where we started, with a frustrated chariot maker wondering why he was broke, all the way to the king of Babylon asking for help. This blueprint, it's been working for thousands of years. And it's not about getting lucky or some secret formula. It's about discipline, and most importantly, it's about a complete shift in how you think about money.
And you know, for Bensir and Kobe and all the other people who listened to Arcad, this was the moment everything clicked. The moment they finally got it. It was like a light bulb went on. They suddenly understood that they had the power to build their own wealth, 1 coin at a time, starting with the money they were already making. Because this is the heart and soul of the whole thing. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. If you remember one thing, remember that. It's a declaration of financial independence. Think about it. You work to pay your rent, you work to pay for food, you work to pay for your clothes. But who should you be working for first? The answer has to be you. That one simple thought is the foundation that everything else is built on.
So, in the end, this ancient wisdom from Babylon isn't just some dusty old story. It's a direct challenge to every single one of us, right here, right now. The principles are so simple. The path is laid out for you. The only real question left is the one Arcad himself would have asked. What part of your earnings will you claim for yourself, starting today?